Hi, welcome back to my Elden Ring Let's Play. Today it's boss fights. It's just boss fights. Let's get into it. Starting off with, of course, the police clergyman, who's like the last turning point. Going with the good old classic rot dog. I think a lot of people dislike the first phase of this fight just because of how fast he is, and honestly, I kind of get it. But, you know, as someone who's played Monster Hunter, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know what that has to do with it. Point is, I don't think he is that difficult. Don't mind me just menuing. Because I forgot to equip an item that would make this second phase very easy. Well, not easy, but easier. Yeah, he doesn't... The first phase, I will admit, is kind of... It's a different beast from the rest of the bosses in this game because he's much faster than his size would be. But he also deals significantly less damage compared to other bosses of comparable size. You know, at least compared to Placiduous Action Millennia. And now we're on to the second phase for the first time in this video. Yeah, when I said this episode was just boss fights, I really just meant it's two boss fights. It's this boss fight and then the one immediately after it. And the one immediately after it doesn't take nearly as long. I could have carried there, whatever. Yeah, I think I can kind of see where it's coming from, but I think the second phase is actually slightly easier than the first phase because his attack speed is significantly slowed down. Like, sure, he's more acrobatic and he has projectiles, but, you know, his attacks are a little easier to dodge, even if they deal more damage. Which, from my perspective, I think attacks that deal more damage but are easier to dodge are the way to go. We're back into it. I am going to do something I haven't done in previous episodes, and that's like cut down on the amount of in-between times because, you know, part of it is because I have to spend more time editing because I screwed up the audio. But the other part of it is, you know, I don't think there really adds much in between boss fights. Now, previously, when I had to do runbacks, I would always have a chance to talk, but because I didn't have a chance to do that, or rather, because the audio is broken, so you can't hear me do that, I don't see a reason to keep the runbacks in. Anyway, shooting a pillar. 10 out of 10 gameplay. I'm hoping that this is the last boss I actually struggle with going forward. Not saying that the final boss and the second to last boss are difficult. They are. But I don't think they're as bad as some people say they are. At least when you're comparing them to Millennia. Yeah, I just lay him out until the rot. One of the annoying parts about the phase transition for this fight is that, you know, if you apply rot to him, it doesn't persist, which, you know, that's fine. That I can deal with that. Don't mind me just taking projectile damage. Oh yeah, you know, I might as well... So, part of the reason this fight might be seen as more difficult compared to other fights of similar caliber is because his greatsword, specifically the projectile, has an effect that reduces your maximum health. Because if you look at my health bar, instead of the usual 2 colors, there's 3. But one of the cool parts about this fight is that if you did side content like I did, you can actually get a special item which lets you parry some of his attacks. And I'm sure you're thinking, wait, can't you parry a lot of enemies in this game? And yeah, you're correct. There are a lot of enemies in this game, and bosses especially, that you can parry. Malekith is not one of them. You can't parry his attacks, and the attacks you can parry, you require a specific item to do so. So he has a lot of these attacks where before he goes into him, his sword will like glow gold, and that's basically the signal that it can be parried. For instance, that's not one of the ones that can be parried. I don't know how I avoided that. Go me, I guess. Yeah. Alright, next run. Back at it again. This is, I think, the last attempt, and I finally succumbed to my innate desire to not suck by using the Mimic tier. I have no shame. Don't mind me, almost dying at the very end. Because I think a lot of people will agree with me that the Mimic tier is, in fact, just the best Spirit Ash in the game. They're one of the tankiest, if not the tankiest, and you can customize them to match your build. I also think they have one of the better AIs simply because they're a player base. Like, look, we got through that first phase so much quicker than the previous two fights because I was insistent on using the Rock Dog. But yeah, I think everybody will agree that the Mimic tier is in fact just the strongest Spirit Ash in the game, and that's because it's based off of the strongest entity in the game. That is the player. And you can really, part of the reason it's so strong is because you can customize what it can do. Oh, and another thing, I'm excited for this version, because I'm pretty sure I do pull off one of the parries here. Not immediately. Oh, is it this one? Nope, I misspaced it. I like my sidekick doing a rot breath for like half a second. Like, thanks man, you're really contributing. As you can see, we proc bleed. I think going forward I'm going to unequip those firebombs because I don't really use them. And they're really just mucking up the Mimic's moveset. Oh, we don't parry him, but he does die. Oh wait, no, is this it? Oh, there we go. And then I just throw blood at him. Alright, so that was Malekith taken care of in the first 10 minutes. And you're probably wondering what the remaining 10 minutes of this episode is. So first off, it's cutscene, so I'm just going to shut up.
The rune of death is unbound. And the lands between are shrouded by death's dark fate. But the flames will also burn the impenetrable thorns. it is then. You'll be Elden Lord yet.
And we have returned from cutscene land. So the remaining 10 minutes of this episode, or not even 10, less than 10, obviously it's me stat screening, but it's also, it's taking care of exactly one more boss, but also doing some side content. Not side content. So, there's one of the best items in the game, is this talisman, which replaces rings from Dark Souls 3. It's basically an equipable item that gives you various effects. One of the best effects in the game is the talisman that gives your character just extra health, stamina, and equip load. And, you know, only way you could make that talisman better is if it also increased your mana. But it doesn't, so whatever. But anyway, it is one of the unique talismans in that it comes in 3 flavors. You have the normal version, the +1 version, and the +2 version. Now, at this point, as I'm showing off here, I have the +1 version, and the +2 version is not available until after you beat Malakath. And so, now we're going to go get the +2 version. And the +2 version is kind of annoying, because the regular version you get at the end, you get by going through a dungeon. Showed you that at the very beginning of the game. The +1 version you get by defeating Maug's Shadow in the sewers, which we already did. And then the +2 version you get by running through a gauntlet of a bunch of mooks and then a bunch of worms, which, you know, fun. Thankfully we can ignore most of these guys. But I did not have the foresight of calling the lift. Either that or the lift is automatically set to be down when you get here. So I realized that, pulled the lever, and now I'm outside of everyone's aggro range. So I start to, you know, aside from him, fuck that guy. Yes, kill him. Kill him. Nice. And his little friend too. Anyway, now that's that dealt with, we have to go through the actual gauntlet. Alright, so, not sure if you remember, but this area used to look a lot differently, and it used to sound a lot differently as well. That is the effect of beating Malakath. There's a lot more ash, and there's also, you know, that guy. He's fun. Everyone likes him. He's not the most hated boss in this game. No way. That's not true. He's not that difficult of a boss. He's just annoying because he is the most reused boss in this game, and you're about to see part of the reason why. Another worm. Yeah, this area that I'm rolling through has 3 of these guys, and that's part of the reason I put Bloodhound Step. Makes it go faster. So yeah, the +2 version is up there, and the fun part is, even if you don't want to get this for the better stats, which you should, it is totally worth it to just die here getting it, which I don't, right? But it is totally worth to die here to get it, because the stat increase is that significant. But you have to get it if you want to get all the achievements for the game, which I have. I'm not going to post a screenshot of that, but I do have all the achievements. But yeah, so that's basically what this section is. You run and grab it, and then you skedaddle on out without dying, hopefully. Please. No, I don't die. And I don't mean that as like a matter of fact, I don't die. I've died plenty of times. I mean, I don't die here. Because once you get to the stairs, you're safe. They can still kind of attack you through the houses, but once you get to the stairs, you're safe. And after you get far enough to de-aggro them, you're fine. But yeah, so now have the last piece. And now we have to go and continue the game proper. Now, there isn't a whole lot going on in the Ashen Capital. You know, on account of there being nothing but ash everywhere. This is just me using the runes to level up at least one more time, because I'm close enough. Yeah. So, right now, 60 health will get you through pretty much any enemy in the game, like even post-game. I don't know if it'll help, how helpful it'll be in New Game +1, or +2 for that matter, but for any new game enemy, boss or otherwise, it should be more than enough. So now we can just focus on leveling damage, which, you know, only thing left at this point is some bosses, so we always use more damage. This is me looking for an NPC. There is one. So yeah, so there are 2 NPCs you can contact here. One is this guy who's just shriveling up and crying.
The master is nothing enchanted, seeking to supplant. Look at it. Oh, I finally come. The master is nothing enchanted, seeking to look at it.
And the other NPC is over by the Colosseum, which I don't think I do, because instead I choose to do something way funnier. So, one of the last bosses in the game, they decided to make a player model NPC, which means you can do some real degenerate garbage. Because as you can see from my quick slide to the inventory screen, I've equipped a spell called Inescapable Frenzy. And what that spell does is it's a grab attack, and if you do it correctly, you can chain into it, as you'll see here. Granted, I don't do the perfect setup because when you use madness miracles, your madness increases. This is me popping an item that regenerates my FP, so it helps.
I commend your spirit, but alas.
So here comes the fun part. As you can see, it does a lot of damage, and we just latch onto him again. Now, like I said, if I had more madness resistance, I could just keep doing this. But because I didn't think to increase my madness resistance, I get stunned long enough for him to escape, but not long enough for him to live. So, I kind of gloss over it because of how quickly this boss fight goes, but, you know, one of the reasons I think Gideon is cool is because his moveset is determined by your character. It's really hard to tell there because I killed him so quickly, but, so, he's primarily a spellcaster, right? He'll use pretty much any spell in the game. But the moves and spells he uses are determined by what spells and stuff you use in your game. At least that's what I think. He might, because you know, there is like, I think a lot of different spells he can use, but he will prefer different ones depending on how you've done your playthrough. This is just me running to the last site of grace for the last couple bosses, because at this point there's 3 bosses left to beat. There's good old Godwin, and then there's Radagon and the Elden Beast, and then there's Melania. And Melania's going to get her own episode. As of this voiceover recording, I haven't actually fought them, but I'm hoping that Godwin, not Godwin, that's the kid. I'm stupid. I'm hoping the next fight and the one after it will be quick enough that they can have their own episode and the Melania gets her own episode. But you know what? We'll see. I'll let you know next episode when I actually get it recorded. But for now, we're just going to start off next episode going straight into this boss fight. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with my audio troubles. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Bye.
But alas, none shall take it from